Welcome, everybody. I'm glad you're with us today. I'm glad you're joining us live. And welcome to anybody who is watching on YouTube later on. I'm certainly glad that you're here because I think this presentation is going to be a gem of a presentation. I'm just putting the pressure on Quincy at this point. My name is Jay Rosema, and I work with the team here in the Teaching and Learning Center. And presenting with me today is Quincy.
Quincy, all right. I
Introduce
had,
yourself.
I'm also on the TLC team. Thank you, Jay. I was scrambling for the mute button. Thank you all for being here and making time for us. I think this will be good. I'll try. I'll try to deliver for Jay and for you all.
Right. Thanks, Quincy. I'm looking forward to the demonstration. I do want to let people know that we are recording this first part of the TLC Tech Time, and that includes information about Canvas in 5 and our Tech Time demonstration. Today's demonstration is about organizing your Canvas gradebook. And we will stop the recording before we move on to conversations and discussions so that everyone here has a safe place to ask questions and to participate. I would like to remind you that if you are participating in the Level Up Certificate Program, attending the TLC Tech Time can help you earn credits for Level 2 technology. Each 30-minute episode is worth a half a credit, and you can earn it by attending live or by watching the recording and self-reporting through our Qualtrics form. If you are on YouTube right now, you'll find the link to the form in the notes below. And while you're there, be sure to like this video by clicking the thumbs up icon. One feature we launched in January is our series of videos, Canvas in 5. Where in 5 minutes or less, we'll help you learn a tip, a trick, or a feature in Canvas. And you'll find these videos in our YouTube channel, and I'll place a link for it in the chat. We recommend watching Canvas in 5 before attending TLC Tech Time because during our Tech Time presentation, we're going to expand on the topic from Canvas in 5. However, this is certainly not required. You are more than welcome to watch Canvas in 5 anytime you have a few spare minutes. You may even want to binge watch them. It won't take you that long. If you have not had the opportunity to check out Canvas in 5, and you want to know where to find them, let me show you now. I'm going to share my screen, and I am going to show you the TLC Teaching and Learning Center, the Learning Channel on YouTube. And as you get to the home page, you will find that this is actually a repository for all of our recorded content. So I encourage you to check out more than just Canvas in 5 while you are there. If you want to find the playlist for Canvas in 5, click on this link right here that says Playlists, and it will take you to all of our playlists, and you will find Canvas in 5 and TLC Tech Time. And within this playlist, you will find every Canvas in 5 that we have posted, as well as every recording of our Tech Time that we have had after the Canvas in 5. And this goes all the way up through the Canvas in 5 gradebook views. And I think today's episode of Tech Time will be up there before you know it. So I believe I am ready for Quincy to start demonstrating.
I'm ready for that as well. Hey, everybody. Thanks again for being here. And a show of hands, has anybody checked out the YouTube channel, the TLC YouTube channel lately? Anybody been there? Jay, Aaron, Brenda? I hope so. But everybody's okay. That's fantastic. Just want to make sure everybody knows where it's at. There's a giant button on our events tab on the TLC website. And then it's also in our signature. You can get to it from a website on our signature and our emails if you've received one of those from us. But for today, in this quarter, I'm going to talk about the Gradebook. Context here. before sharing my screen and jumping into a live demo of the Gradebook and a couple of features in about 10 minutes or less. Um, the Gradebook is probably the most heavily used component of Canvas, I would say, fair to say, right? Has anybody here not used Canvas Gradebook? Has anybody used the Gradebook? Most folks have used it. Okay, I'm just going to show a couple views, which duplicates what's in the Canvas in 5 video, but I'm going to take it a step further and show you a few things. And then the second half of the demo, I'm going to take a moment to show you grading weights. And my perspective, I do it, but I'm not always sure it's the right thing to do. So I'm hoping I invite you to have a conversation and ask questions about how and why we do it, not just the buttons to click. So with that being said, feel free to jump in at any time. If I show you something that catches your interest, come off mute, raise your hand, or use the chat feature, and we'll be happy to hopefully everyone can see my screen. This is IT, one of our courses. It's a sandbox we use to play around with to do different things. This is the home page of a template here that you see. And I've loaded it with some names that you'll recognize from the TLC team just to be able to demonstrate the gradebook and these things, put some fake assignments in there. So let's start off by looking at the gradebook, the most popular place in Canvas. All right, click on grades in the main menu, the main navigation, and this will take you to what's called the traditional gradebook. This is the traditional view. All right, so how you know you're here is typically you have students' names already pre-populated on the left-hand side with several columns here of assignments that you've created in your Canvas. Important to note, any assignment that you publish will show up in your gradebook. Any assignment that is unpublished should not show up for your students in their gradebook. There are some settings as well as far as dates and these things that you can control. But I'm going to just focus on 2 of the 3 possible versions of the gradebook. So right over here on the left-hand side, you should see the caret to change the gradebook view. Has anybody used this feature before? Has anybody looked at it before? I see some nodding heads. Fantastic. This is good news. All right. So I don't know if I bother too much to change this view, the traditional view, because I think there's a lot I can do that kind of mirrors some of the features in the individual gradebook and the Learning Mastery gradebook. But for today, let's stick to the traditional gradebook and the individual gradebook. All right, so traditional gradebook, I already mentioned what it looks like in the layout. Some features here that you can do is the sorting feature. This is helpful, especially for those that have large class sizes. It's sometimes hard to know where you are. Things start to get towards the bottom when you start to get over 30, 40, 50 students. You'll notice at the bottom here is a scroll bar. I'm lucky, I just have a few students, but just these few assignments as well. This can be helpful. The sorting feature can be helpful because it might be difficult to scroll. So come here, sort by lowest grade to high. Maybe you're looking for, the grades that are missing to check in with your students, these type of things. You can click on this, and then if there's any missing assignments, so for instance, any excused, you had a student or a group of students that asked for an extension, this was where you could come here and you could sort by, and that would go to the top for you or the bottom for you. And then any questions so far? Okay, I'll keep going. And then what you'll notice too is the default, I have my gradebook almost exclusively set up to present the individual assignments, the grades for each assignment based on the due dates. Now, I don't typically like alphabetical, these type of things, because I want to just move through the course as an instructor, especially in chronological order from left to right. But you can modify that. You can change all that. We'll talk more about that next month when we meet. But this is the basic gradebook. Switching over to the individual gradebook, and then we'll talk some more complicated things. I find that the individual view here is super helpful if you're taking a look at a person's one single student's assignments. or in a particular assignment. Say, for instance, you want to look for one student in a particular assignment to see how they did, or to be able to evaluate what you might do and what support you might offer that particular student. I would then it's very quick. I would highly recommend coming to the individual gradebook, especially if you have a large class. It's going to be a little bit easier to find who that student is. So in this case, I'll show you a walkthrough. The first things you have to do to find a particular student is you have to select the course that they're a part of. You all might have multiple courses going at the same time, or you might have old courses and new courses attached. So this list can look very different than mine. In this case, I have just one course assigned to me. So I'm going to go ahead and pick that course. That's the course that you're seeing. And then I don't care. I just want to look at one particular assignment, but I'm going to choose by due date. But if there's lots of them, you can choose alphabetical to find that particular assignment. And then down here, I want to pick that student and content. In this case, I want to look at my test student to see how they did on an assignment, make sure that they're in good standing. And then if there's that particular assignment, these are assignments already created in here for this demo. I can come in here and say, gosh, I want to check and see. I know the student was struggling and expressed concerns about their preparation for their practical exam. I want to make sure that they did okay. I'm going to come here. I'm going to click on that. And then down here below, here's the test student's information. You're going to have a hyperlink to their information that will take you back to their gradebook to see a different view. And then I can look at their grades so far. We'll talk more about the grading groups in a second, but I can kind of see how they've done on their assignments as a whole based on the type of assignments that they've completed. And then I could see where their standing is overall in my course. But here's the assignment in question that I want to check in on. So for this practical examination, assignment was 30 out of 30 points, which is what you set in the assignment itself. Average score for the course was 18. Highest score was perfect, and then lowest score was 0. That's just because that student did not complete the practical exam. But so I can get a sense of what this student has done, and I can even see what they've submitted if there's some sort of asset affiliated with this. In this case, this was an observation, so there's going to be a checklist. I can click here and I can see the checklist that was uploaded for their assignment. All right, questions? Okay, all right, I'll keep moving forward. But this could be a place where you can do some sophisticated things, such as you can curve grades as well as set a default grade. Maybe there's a reason there was a bad test question, right? We've been in that situation, maybe not for a practical exam, but maybe a written exam. If this was what you were looking for, you could do things like that. If students did great, if students didn't do so great, you can message them as well from here too. You can set that information. This is very powerful for helping create connection with your students, to let them know that you're seeing what's happening and that you're not waiting weeks, days, months later to check in on them. All right. Okay, so that's the individual gradebook. I'm going to go back to the traditional gradebook. Is it the group, the opposite of individual? Would that be the group gradebook? So I mentioned that you can do things that are sometimes duplicate of what you could do in the individual. So sometimes I don't need to go to the individual because I can just put the student's name in the search bar and it will remove everybody else's information, and I can simply look at that one student's performance across the course. So a different way of looking at almost the same information, but you'll notice there's not a lot I can do from here that I could have done in the individual gradebook view. Okay. All right. So I'm going to change gears just ever so slightly and talk about grade weights. But to get to that topic and show you that demonstration really quick, you have to create what's called grading groups, assignment groups. So to do that, what I'm going to do is quickly go to assignments. And this is going to list everything that you've premeditated, told Canvas for this course that it's going to have a grade of some sort, and there's all different ways to do so. So here's assignments. This is going to be everything. And so you'll notice here I have different type of assignments for the course. I've got discussions, I've got projects, I've got practicals, and I've got quizzes. You can set these up, you can modify them. So for instance, this is an assignment. I want it to be projects. This is something that they turn in. It's a group project. I can go ahead and save, and you'll notice that changes the title there. But one thing that's missing is their exams. I want to group their exams, not only for me so that I can understand performance across the course for students, but also so that they can easily know the difference between the different types of assignments. So to do that, I'm going to click on the plus button here, click assignment. And as soon as it loads, I'm going to say exams. And then this is an exam. This is an actual exam. And then I did it backwards. So I'm creating the actual exam first. Sorry. I clicked plus assignment first, and I'm creating an exam. This is exam 1 that I will shortly show you that I'm going to put into a grading group. So this is a knowledge-based exam. It's multiple choice, Scantron style, and this is going to be helping them. They have to take this before their practicals, and then it's designed to help them prepare for their upcoming board exams once they're done with the program. It's worth 25 points. I'm going to say for now, I'm going to call it a project, but I'm going to move that. Points will be displayed. And then it's text entry. They're going to have a limited amount of attempts. They only get one shot at it. You can change that. And then once I'm ready, I'm going to go ahead and say save. The save and publish means that then the students can see this on their end. All right, so then I'm going to go back to assignments, and I'm going to move that assignment to a group. Click on the group tab, and I'm going to call this exam. So let's assume that there's multiple exams. All I have to do then is come here, find that exam that I just created, scroll down to the bottom, drag that down, boom. Immediately I've created distinct grading groups, assignment groups based on the nature of that assessment. Questions? All right, then to wrap up then, the last thing I want to show you is that then based on this, what we all know is that not all assignments are created equal. I always try to think about this during course design. When I create the assignment itself, I might say discussions are not as important as a project or a practical or an exam. So those discussions should be for less value. So in this case, 5 points. Whereas the project's 25, the practical's 30, and my exam is 25. That is one way to handle it. You'll have to do some math on your end, on the back end. But there's another way too to make it clear what is of more value, and that's called weighting, grade weighting. Right. Anybody using grade weighting currently? Show of hands. Thumbs up. Anybody? A few folks. Okay. Thanks, Tabitha. Okay. Thank you. All right. So to set grade weights, all I have to do is click on the 3 dots, the hamburger, just to the right of the assignment and group buttons, and you should see the option to say assignment group weight. Click on it, and then you check the box weight final grade based on assignment groups. This will only work if you have distinct grading groups, assignment groups. If you only have one and they're all lumped in there, it's going to be goofy. So that's why I was showing you how to do that first. But in this case, I have set things up before adding the exams. So discussions are worth 10% of their overall grade. Their project is worth 0. I'm going to change that to 10 because I think that's important, but not necessarily as important as practicals. Quizzes 10, and then I think that leaves me with exams, and I think that's really important. So I'm going to add that. Actually, I'm going to do it different. Projects are going to be worth 20, and then I'm going to add this to 30, amounting to 100%. And it will tell you the math here, so you always make sure everything is 100%. But what's reflected here is basically that not all assignments are the same. The math here is that no matter how many discussions there are, it's only going to count, the total points is only going to count for 10% of the grade. So whatever's collectively in this course, it's going to do the math for you. Questions about that? All right, and there it is. Boom, I click save, and what you'll notice right away, yeah, Tanya, I see you. You'll see the weighting show up accordingly.